If you were told you had to catch a bass over 12 inches within the next 2 hours, do you think you could do it? That is what we're going to be trying to do in today's video. Get a bass in the boat over 12 inches in 2 hours or else. And we're going to be fishing today 100% raw and uncut. I'm going to be bringing y'all along with me, and we're going to be tackling this body of water and seeing if we can make it happen. You know, we're dealing with 44-degree water temps right now. Last week, this particular body of water was actually frozen. I'm not sure how good they're going to be biting, but we're going to have to fish hard regardless to get a bass in the boat in the next 2 hours. So come along with me. Let's see if we can make it happen. I hope we can. Let's get to fishing. All right, y'all, so we're right here at the first spot that we're going to start at. This is a big flat that drops off into a creek channel. It's a pretty good area for fish to set up at in the summertime. Usually it's a lot of hydrilla and lily pads up here. We have the timer set to 2 hours, so that is going to start on our very first cast. I'm going to put that up here in front of us, and we're going to start off throwing a crankbait, and this is the little J crankbait that I paint. This is in Demon Crawl, and it's one of my favorite colors. This is a crankbait that I paint. It is available on my website, gfoutdoors.com, but I'm throwing that on a 7-foot Lew's TP2 composite rod, Lew's speed spool. This is a 5:6 gear ratio, very slow gear ratio, and I have 12-pound test P-line C21 copolymer on here. Now this crankbait runs about 7 or 8 foot if you hold your rod tip down, which is perfect for what we're throwing in right now because we're sitting in 7.5 foot. So we're going to work along. We're going to throw right up here along the edge of this, basically this break, this little drop off right here, and we're going to get time started. So let's see what we got here. 2 hours, boom. We just started on the first cast right here, raw and uncut. We have to catch a bass over 12 inches within the next 2 hours, and I'm telling y'all, this is not going to be easy. Not at all. I want to make sure that I throw this crankbait up there right off the edge of that hydrilla and bring it into this deeper little creek channel here, because that's where I believe I'm going to get bit. You know, this water right now is 45 degrees. It has warmed up just a touch, but I'm just going to be cranking this thing along. The water's pretty stained. Usually this body of water is very clear, but it only has about maybe 1.5 foot of visibility. So we're throwing the good old red, the Demon Crawl. And I'm hoping they're going to be keyed in on this. You know, February red is always a really good color. Even though there's a lot of bait fish in this particular lake, usually red crankbaits can get bit in late February, early March. So that's what we're starting with. We also have a jig on the deck. We have a Strike King spinnerbait tied on, Strike King jerkbait. We have even a blade bait, and then we have the minnow up here. We got to get a fish basically any way we can, because it's get a bass within 2 hours or else. That's what we're going with today, or else. So we're putting a lot of pressure on us. Pickerel don't count, crappie don't count. It's got to be a bass 12 inches or larger. So we're going to work along this side. We'll probably end up working that other side too. It has a lot of really good points on it. But I'm really hoping that, being it's warmed up a little bit and we have this abundant sunshine, that these fish will bite. That is definitely what I'm hoping. Everything has been so cold and basically frozen over the past couple weeks. I know these fish have been in a bit of a funk, so definitely hoping the fish are kind of going to be in a biting mood. I haven't been out here in quite a while. It's been several months. But there are, you know, there are some big fish in here, a pretty decent population of fish. And I'm hoping there's a fish that wants to eat this crankbait. So we're gonna crank along and throw along this little edge. And you know, the reason I'm starting off with a crankbait is just because, you know, the time of year. And then basically when the water's in the mid 40s, I really like throwing a crankbait, especially in like late winter, like we are now in this particular time period of mid to late February. And then you get into early March. Reds are always pretty dang good. And crankbaits are pretty good, especially like this flat side. This little J is a flat side crankbait, has a really tight wobble to it. It gets down deep. A lot of times in this colder water, crankbaits with a really wide body, they have that wide wobble. They tend to not get bit quite as good as a flat side crankbait. Not saying they won't get bit. Definitely not saying that at all, but a lot of times the flat sides do tend to get bit a little bit better. I'm probably going to throw the jerkbait at some point. Probably going to throw the spinnerbait, but I'm just really hoping that the crankbait will get bit and these fish will be active enough to chase. That's going to be the big thing, is are they active enough to chase? And something about, you know, else about here is a lot of times the fish are in like specific zones. So you'll have a small area of this body of water, which is only like 120 acres, that's productive. A lot of the other areas of this lake will be just dead water. So you have to figure out what zone the fish are biting in. And a lot of times that has to do with bait fish and where the bait fish are. I have not seen any bait fish on the graph yet. But we're hoping to get us a big old bass if we can. I'll throw right out here, just really work along this front edge. Like I said, I'm running 12-pound test copolymer on here. I love throwing copolymer for a crankbait. I'm throwing this blended rod. It's a composite graphite blended Lew's TP2. So it's very parabolic. It loads up really good. You know, and also you have that little bit of give of, or a little bit of stretch basically from your line. So it just, you keep from pulling away from the fish a lot. You're able to get those hooks buried in those gummy lips is what I call them. Those wintertime bass have those really tough lips, and they're, you know, kind of hard to get the hook into. And in these crankbaits that I paint, I put super sharp hooks on them, but you don't want to pull away from them. You know, it's so easy to like really set the hook and jerk the crankbait away from them, or just like barely hook them and you fight them too hard. You want to really feather that spool. If you hook into a big one, you don't want to pull away from, you know, pull your bait away from them. Either during the bite or after you've gotten bit, you don't want to end up losing them because you were trying to horse them, because those lips are really tough. And you know, in the summertime they're soft, but in the winter I've always called them gummy lips is what I call them. And they can be a little bit tough sometimes to keep hooked up. That's why a rod is so important. And then something else too, like, you know, this reel, this speed spool I'm throwing it on, 5:6 to 1 gear ratio. So slower gear ratio. We're really dredging and grinding this thing along the bottom. And you know, if you have a faster gear ratio reel, you're moving that bait really fast. And a lot of times you can end up pulling that bait through the zone too quick, and you get it away from the fish, and you just don't generate quite as many bites. A lot of people like a 6-8 to 1, somewhere in there, and that's about as slow as they'll go. But I'm old school. I'm a 5-6 to 1 gear ratio guy for my spinner baits, crankbaits, chatterbait, my moving bait stuff. That's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. But water temps now have dropped back down to 45.4. And we're going to work up to this point. I'm probably going to throw the jig off this point as we get up here near it. But just really hoping this crankbait bite will somewhat be on. And the fish could be a little bit shallower than what I'm thinking too. You know, water 45, when it's been down 32, 33 degrees, that's like a heat wave for these fish. So they might be up there fairly shallow, baking in the sun a little bit, trying to get a suntan. I'm really thinking when we get up to this corner, I think that's kind of where we're going to get into the fish. I'm pretty sure this upper end has fish in it, but this lower end is deeper. So I'm thinking that's hopefully where we're going to find more fish. Maybe a little bit better population of fish, some fish that are a little bit more willing to bite, maybe. But I'm just waiting for this rod to load up and it'd be a big old bass. This crankbait casts really good too. That's one thing, a lot of times you get into these smaller profile flat sides, they don't cast good because they're so light. But this particular blank that I paint has a good weight transfer system in it, so it casts really, really good. Got a little bit of a tangle here. Get off of there, get off of there. There we go. Yeah, we're in the ditch right here. We're in about 9 foot of water. Not really seeing a ton of fish. Fish could be just sucked down to the bottom like they are a lot of times. I know last week on Gaston, they were just sunk down to the bottom so hard you couldn't even hardly see them. And they get like that, but I think with the water being 45, I think these fish are going to be up a little bit more. I think what I might do is I might actually, instead of going right to the dam and working right to the dam, I might get up to this point, fish that, jump over to this other side, and then fish back down and hit these offshore points right here with the crankbait. Might throw the jig on them as well. And then we might work to that lower end. It's a really big flat up here where we're getting up on. You know, a lot of times in here too, and this is all, you know, body of water dependent, of course, but a lot of times in this particular body of water, or sometimes I should say, the jig bite is better than the crankbait bite. Now I know some places the crankbait bite is better than the jig bite, but a lot of times the jig bite in here is pretty solid. So we're getting up into an area kind of out in the middle here off these points and kind of between them where it's a whole bunch of stumps. And the fish really like to go out and sit on those stumps in about 10 or 11 foot of water. So we're probably going to throw the jig out there some and drag around, but I don't want to slow down yet. I want to keep throwing a moving bait. I want to keep throwing this crankbait working along. We do have some cloud cover today, which is good, which I would hope would maybe have the fish biting a little bit better. It's not post frontal or just, you know, clear blue skies or anything like that, making it super, super tough. Just other than the fact that the water temps are pretty cold and this whole body of water was completely frozen solid last week, but the weather conditions aren't bad. We have a decent little ripple on the water, so that's nice. I think we're going to be able to make it happen, or we have to. We have to, because basically it's get one or else, y'all. It is get one or else. So we have got to get one in here. Definitely not seeing a ton of fish. I've seen a few on the graph, but not many at all out deep. I'm hoping to pick one up on this point right here. This is always a pretty good point. Fairly productive a lot of times. Go up there off the side of it. At least it's not freezing today. It's pretty nice. Right now air temps are like 54, 55. Definitely one of the warmer days we have had in a pretty decent little bit. Just kind of starting, stopping this crankbait. Working it along, trying to create a reaction strike, basically. A lot of times those fish will follow, and when you kind of stop it and just give it a little pop or something, it'll make them react. So that's why I'm kind of varying the retrieve a little bit. Just threw right up there on the end of it. I was honestly hoping to get a bite on that flat where we were just off of. I was hoping that there would be a fish up there pulled up to that hydrilla edge, and kind of when we brought this through that channel, I was hoping a fish would jump on it, but that was not the case. This water here is about as muddy as this place gets. It is swamp fed, but it's, you know, not a lake that gets muddy very easy. Usually it's pretty doggone clear. But in theory, you know, really the stain should help. Really the stain should help the bite. Water's back up to 46 now. We're definitely going to jump over to this other side and fish this point. It's basically 2 points that kind of come together at the mouth of that cove. Tell you what, I see a pretty nice fish right here. We're going to throw the jig at it real quick. See if we can get that fish to potentially bite. Got the good old bitsy flip. Don't think I put that cast too far to the left. Let's see if we can get one on it. Yeah, that fish just paid it 0 attention. So that's never good when they don't even pay your jig any attention whatsoever. Okay, we're gonna keep on cranking along. I just happened to see that fish on the side of the point, and I wanted to at least throw at it. It looked like a pretty nice one, actually. This flat right here tends to be pretty good. So we're gonna work along right here. We're still in 8.5 foot of water. So still good water right here. Good depth. This depth carries up to the shoreline pretty good right here on this area. A lot of the other parts of this kind of flatten out as they get close to the shoreline, but this particular shoreline stays a little bit deeper as it gets all the way up. So I'm hoping there might be some fish up here. Come on, big girl. Now you want a crankbait snack. Well, I hope so anyway. It's crazy to me how the water will fluctuate like ½ degree in temperature within like a 50-yard stretch. Just depends on where the wind is hitting and where the sun is hitting and all of that. It's pretty crazy how it fluctuates like that. Was really hoping I would have had one tick this crankbait. These fish can get very, very specific this time of year. They can really, really want a certain thing. I got that blade bait up here. Definitely not something I want to have to throw. I would probably actually take that off and put a lipless on, to be honest with y'all, if I pick that rod up. I don't think I'm going to throw a blade bait. Might if I had to. Have to get really, really tough for that. But today could be really, really tough. It's seeming to be not so easy right now, that's for sure. Not seeing many fish or anything at the moment, but they are here. They are here. They are in here. We have got to get one of them. And there's a giant right there. There's a great big one. I mean, a great big one. Oh my goodness. Okay, he's swimming right to the boat. Let's see if we can get the jig in front of him. He didn't even look at it. I mean, didn't even care at all. Wow, I mean, that's a pretty big fish right there, and he didn't care none whatsoever about this jig. So we're going to see if we can see another one up here. Not gonna pick that jig up to where I'm just throwing that quite yet, and that's it. I slung my crankbait back here, and now I've done got all hung up in the carpet. These hooks are so sharp, they're getting stuck like crazy. Do not want to stick that hook in my finger, that's for sure. Thought I'd put the crankbait on the outside of the boat, but I didn't, so got stuck in that carpet. Yeah, that was a big fish. That was like a 6 or 7 pounder. Like, that was a big one. But the fact that he didn't pay any attention to the jig is like, whew, not ideal. That is for sure, because, oh my Lord, I done got a little bit of a backlash here, but because normally in here, that jig bite can be pretty doggone good. So we're just going to keep on throwing the crankbait for now. Seeing if we can get bit on this. Got a pretty good point we're coming up on right here. I don't know, I think that is actually, that's a fish right there on the bottom. Another really nice one, it looks like. Sitting down there in about just under 10 foot. But this crankbait's getting down there where they're at, because it gets between that 8 and 10 foot zone. I'm gonna work my way up right to this point, and then we're probably gonna go ahead and turn and head back down this side right here. Like I said, I don't want to just get up here to the dam yet. I don't want to just get up there and fish that. I want to try to work the front edges of these flats. Probably should have brought my Hank Cherry chartreuse grubs with me. Might we get one then? That was pretty cool seeing him win Just a old school bait like that. Something that literally basically nobody is throwing for bass nowadays. Just shows you how much we overthink bass fishing a lot of times. All that old school stuff is still super productive. Come on, bass. You know, one thing about this body of water that does make this crankbait bite a little bit tougher is the fact that there's really nothing to bounce this crankbait off of. So you can't really throw up on somewhere and get like some really good deflection off of wood or off of stumps or anything like that, just because if you throw up too shallow, you're in the hydrilla. You're throwing all up in the hydrilla, and you're gonna get all mangled up in that. So you can't really just bump it off of the bottom and just really dredge the crankbait. You kind of gotta keep it just above the bottom. So what you're really hoping you're doing is you're coming right across one's head or right above his head, and he's basically biting it out of reaction, or a reaction bite. You know, there are some or there is riprap up here at the dam, so we're definitely going to throw the crankbait around that. But just as far as the lake overall, there's not a lot of places to just beat and bang this thing off of. But sometimes, you know, the crankbait bite can be pretty good. Doesn't seem like that right now, though. We're going to turn around, and I think we're going to go back down this side right here. For now, I'm going to keep the crankbait in my hand for now. We're going to fish out off this deeper point right here. Now, I thought about tying on a chatterbait. I actually don't have my chatterbait set up in the boat, but that particular one that I have the blade bait on, I could definitely throw a chatterbait on that setup, 100%. Get out here off this point right here. So now we're going to work back in the same direction that we just came from. We're going to see if we can get bit. Not sure how far along into the 2 hours we are right now. I don't even remember what time we started, but we haven't fished too terribly long. I think there's a couple bass out here in front. We're using all the methods we can. All the methods we can. We have 2 hours or else. I think these might actually be, crappy. We're gonna find out. A little bit to the side. That's a bass right there, 100%. Let's put one on this guy. I gave that the old whirly twirl right there. Let's see. Always looking at it. Oh, he's right under it. I mean, right under it. He ate it. Nice bass. Oh, my goodness. We really had to get him on the minnow. We really had to get him on the minnow, didn't we? Oh, this is a good one right here. We're going to pick that crankbait back up, but I saw him down there. I said, man, we have got to throw. Oh, I'm being crazy trying to boat flip this fish right here. All right. There we go. There we go right there. So it was basically 2 hours or else. I had to get one over 12 inches, and we did that on the minnow. Man, probably my least favorite way to catch a fish, to be honest with y'all. But we challenged ourselves, and we were going to use all the tools we had available to us to complete the challenge out here on this tough day. And you know, this fish really chased up that minnow for quite a while before it bit. So first fish right there, and we have that 12-inch fish in the boat. We have him in the boat. So now we're going to pick that crankbait back up, and we're going to get back to throwing the crankbait. I really want to get a fish throwing this thing around. I don't want to you just throw around the minnow, but oh man, there's a couple more big bass right here in front of me. I'm gonna have to throw to them. They're crappy. They're actually crappy. They're out here off this point. Probably some big ones though. They look pretty big on the screen. Yep, they're pretty big crappie, but got a dang minnow fish, I swear. I'll throw it at another one if I got to. There's been a couple big bass that I've passed up that I haven't thrown to just because I wanted to try to see if I could get them to bite the jig or you know, something like that. But that fish was so sluggish when he came up to bite that. Man, he just stayed under it forever. Like he just sat there and followed it up and stared at it, just stared it down before he finally committed, which is kind of weird with, you know, as muddy as the water is. You know, one thing I did notice right then when I looked up, it definitely looks like we got some cloud cover moving in. That's good. Maybe that'll get them on a little bit more of a bite. Well, one good thing is if it was 2 hours to catch a fish or else you're done, at least I'll see tomorrow. So that's one good thing. But we're gonna see how many more we can catch. I think this is actually a pretty, I don't know if that's a, no, that's a big old stump underneath of us there. I'm gonna throw right here on the side of this point. Definitely should be a fish or two up here. 100%. This is typically a pretty good spot. You know, that other shoreline that we just fished down is probably going to be warmer than this one just because of the way the sun shines all day long. And that can be super important. That'll set the fish up on that side right there better than on this side. But then again, that doesn't always matter. That doesn't always matter, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it matters. We're going to get a couple casts up here on this point. Really hoping maybe this cloud cover will kind of flip that bite a little bit and get them a little bit more active and maybe willing to chase a little bit. Like I said, because that one that I just caught on the minnow, I mean, that fish was so, I mean, he just moved so slow. So slow. Just came up underneath of it, just barely moving. Definitely not what you want to see. You want to see a more aggressive bite, you know, especially when you catch one. You want to see that fish be aggressive and chase it pretty hard, and that definitely was not what I just saw out of that fish. But you know, he may not be representative of all of them. But I definitely haven't kind of, you know, I don't have the vibe yet that these fish are biting really good and super aggressive. I don't got that vibe. I'm gonna fish down this shoreline a little bit. If I don't like what I see, then I'm gonna change things up. Sitting in 9.5 to 10 foot right here. You know, I'm really pretty doggone surprised that I've not gotten a bite from a pickerel yet, which I want to say I'm okay 100% with that, because I don't want them to take my crankbait away from me. But being that I have not gotten a bite from a pickerel, that tells me once again that these fish might be, you know, just not very bitey. Not very bitey today. I'm gonna keep working down this flat. I'm gonna work this a little bit faster than I did that other side. A little bit faster. Come on, big girl. Trying to keep the boat right in this like 9-foot range and throw up there into that basically 4-foot zone, so it's coming off that drop off back to the boat. That's kind of where I'm trying to stay at. So I'm staying out of the hydrilla, out of the pad stems, but also staying right near the bottom. I want that crankbait to be as close to the bottom as absolutely possible. Man, this really went flat calm. Them clouds came over and it has just gotten slick out here. That's definitely not not what you want. You want a little bit of wind no matter what. You want a little bit of wind no matter what. I just cannot believe that we are not getting some sort of bite from something on the crankbait. Oh, there's a big bass right there. I mean, a big one. Actually, a giant. Yeah, this fish is like really big. I want to make sure I don't blow over top of him. I'm gonna pick the minnow up. I hate to do it, but this is a very big fish, and that's what that last one reacted to so good. That fish really didn't react to it all that great. Let's see, I think my cast might have been a little bit off. Yeah. That fish didn't care about it, not one bit. Man, that's a big fish. I'm telling y'all, that is a big fish. I just threw that jig right there at him, and he didn't care about that either. I mean, we're looking at a 7 or 8 pounder right here, potentially 7 or 8 pounder. Let's see if we can get the jerk bait kind of over this fish's head. Don't think no, not on that fish. He's done sunk down to the bottom. He was up off the bottom just a little bit. I'm not sure what maybe I could have thrown a little bit different at that fish, but I threw the minnow at it and it didn't even do anything. Didn't even move. Threw the jig at it. Had it right in front of him. He didn't even move at all. Great big fish though. Just, you know, everybody thinks you see a fish on forward facing sonar, you just throw to it and it's automatic. I'm here to tell you that's not even remotely the case. You know, yes, you can see the fish, you can see where they're at, you know, to dial them in a little bit better and all, but it doesn't make them jump in the boat, that's for sure. But we're going to keep grinding along on this flat right here. We saw that big one, so that's good. Maybe we can get one to eat the crankbait as we work along here, and we got a good little series of points that we're coming up on. So maybe we can get a couple to bite on that, or one to bite on that. I don't want to get greedy, that's for dang sure, but I would definitely take a couple. But we're going to keep working along and see if we can force feed them this crankbait. It's a little bit shallower right here where we're at. Oh, my hook's hung on my crankbait. Not real sure There we go. Not real sure if or when. Sometimes I look at feeding windows for particular days. Sometimes, not very often, but not real sure if they might have bit better earlier. A lot of times in the winter like this, the midday bite is pretty good. We started, I think, at like 2:40 something, I think is when we started. So we might be almost an hour into this. Not 100% sure because I don't remember the exact time that I started it, but regardless, we've been fishing for a little bit and we've only got one fish to show for it. This point right here in front of us normally has some fish on it and produces decently good. Don't know what we're gonna get out of it today, but hopefully we got one up here that wants to eat a crankbait. Man, I really cannot believe that this is not getting bit. I know some of y'all might be saying, why are you throwing the same thing over and over and over and not picking up something else? But I'm gonna tell y'all, like, this is definitely a day that I would expect to get bit. Oh, there's a big bass right here. I'm actually bringing the crankbait almost right over him. It was like a big stump and there was a pretty doggone decent bass. Looked like sitting behind it. Come on, y'all. I'm gonna feel this rod load up. I was gearing a cast. Now it's a big old stand-up piece of timber out there. There's a lot of stumps in here. Definitely a lot of stumps on the bottom. But it's a lot of hydrilla and minimal features. Like you got your creek channel. You got a few points. No real long points or anything like that. Just not seeing a ton of fish. So I mean, it's almost making me wonder if, like I said earlier, are there more fish at the dam? You know, is that where a large portion of the fish that are in this pond, or in this basically lake, it's a mill pond, but 120 acres, you know, are they down at the dam, at the spillway, in that, because that is the deepest water in here. That is the deepest water. So it makes perfect sense for a large majority of the fish to be there. And that's probably where the majority of the bait fish are too. Not sure if that's a fish or not. If it is, it's a doggone big one. I don't think it is. I think it's a stump. Yeah, it's a big old stump. All right, so we got this one last little point we're going to work up to right here. And then we're going to start the motor and probably get back up to that upper or lower end. This is the upper end here, but to the lower end of this body of water and see if we can find something there. I mean, potentially we could throw a spinnerbait up shallow and maybe get bit up there, but that's not what I'm thinking. There's not a lot of wind. The fish are just being super sluggish, not chasing even the minnow, not chasing the minnow. So it definitely makes me think that I can't just pick up a spinnerbait and just throw up there in 4 foot of water, 3 to 4 foot of water, and burn them down. Yeah, I definitely don't think that. See a little something has surfaced a couple times right there. I'm not sure if that's crappie coming up or if there's bait fish up there. Right up in there in that little hole between points right there. Pretty nice bass. We're getting ready to go over, I believe. Pretty nice bass. Drop the minnow on his head and see. Nah, he didn't even move. I mean, that's one thing. A lot of these fish just are not moving. That's a pretty nice one. I must have cast it too far. He's going right here to this stump. Bunch of crappie down there. Man, this is, I mean, I don't even want to be doing this at all. This fish is pretty nice, but he's not remotely reacting to this at all. So we're gonna pick that crankbait back up. Like I said, minnow shaking was the last thing that I wanted to do today, but I told myself I was going to do whatever was necessary. We have got to get a fish in the boat. So we're going to get right and get this crankbait in right here. That's a pretty nice bass right there. We're going to put the minnow on this fish and just see if we can get any kind of reaction out of it. Pretty nice one. I actually kind of missed that fish a little bit. There we go. He's just creeping along the bottom. He's swimming to my right, which is making it a little bit difficult to get it on his head. There we go. Got it then. Yeah, he didn't pay it any mind. It's pretty crazy how these fish are just, they won't even look at your offering. They won't even look at it. It's a nice fish though. We're not gonna sit here and chase him around. He's kind of right here in this creek channel. We're gonna fire up and go on. I just brought the crankbait right over his head. He didn't even look at it. All right, let's get up here towards the dam. We're gonna go up here. We're gonna start kind of where we left off, and we're gonna jump across to a point, and we're gonna see if we can get a fish somewhere in there. We're not gonna run along super fast at all. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I was really hoping to do a little bit better, but we got one. All right, so this is kind of where we left off before we caught that other fish. We're gonna jump over here on this left side, and we already fished this area, but it's such a good spot that I wanted to throw the crankbait over it just one more time. There's just got to be a fish that is willing to bite a crankbait, I would certainly think. I'm going to get up here to this point, crank this, and then we're going to jump over there to that other point and work up towards the dam. I mean, that's one thing about this raw and uncut. You get to see all the tough stuff. It ain't all easy, that's for sure. It ain't all easy. It's pretty nice bass right there. I just hate to keep throwing the minnow at them, but I don't think that fish is gonna react to anything anyway. Nope. He swam right away. That's what a lot of them do. You throw at them and they're like, nope. I done seen that thing too many times. But it is surprising that there's just no real reaction bite going on. That's a pretty nice one right there. That's a pretty nice one. We're gonna see if we can get that one to bite. Oh, I didn't get it on him good. He's a little bit further to the right. We're drifting too fast. Yeah, we're like completely by him now. It's crazy how fast you get by these fish. Yeah, like he's gone that quick. Gone. Behind the boat. Still haven't put a good cast on this fish yet because this wind is drifting me. I want to get a good cast on him before I say he's not going to bite. And once again, I missed him just because of the way the boat is spun. There we go. Yeah, no. Ain't having it. He ain't having it, y'all. He said, no thank you. And that's what about 90% plus of them do. They say, absolutely not. I'm not messing with that doggone piece of plastic. I ain't eating it. Definitely seems like the water is a little bit up. Like normally the depth isn't quite this deep where I'm at. It definitely seems like it's a little bit high, and that's, you know, due to recent rains and probably why it's a little bit muddy and all as well. But it's definitely a little bit up. That spillway is probably rolling pretty good. I got a feeling if we can get one to bite this doggone crankbait, it's going to be a good one. But I'm just not getting any bites on it right now. We're going to work this little corner right here. Then we'll probably pick up the jig to throw out here in this open area towards the dam. Once we get back, oh, there's a big one. There's a big one. How in the world? He didn't even react at all. It's crazy. This one sees it. Nope. He saw it. He went up under the boat. I don't even see that fish now. That was a pretty doggone big one too. What happens is, you know, this lake is super shallow. And when you see the fish and you're working along, you end up getting on the fish pretty quick. See, like here's another big one. I mean, this is a big fish right here in front of us. Starting to see more big fish up off the bottom. There's a bunch of crappie right here in front of me, a school of crappie. But that fish has went down. But when you're trolling along fishing and you're not really looking at the screen, and then you look down and you all of a sudden you see a big fish up in the water column, you're kind of like, crap, like then you're switching rods and all that, you know. Whereas if you're intentionally looking, you know, fishing with live scope, intentionally holding the jerk bait or the minnow rod in your hand or whatever, you're able to immediately throw at that fish. So it makes a difference. In deeper water, it definitely does not make near as much difference, but in shallower water or a shallower lake like this, it definitely does. Makes a big difference. There's a big old school of crappie right here to my left. We're gonna work along. Throw a couple more casts on this left side, and then we're gonna jump over here to this point on the right. Let's jump over here. Let's jump over here. See if we can get one to fire on this corner of this point right here. Ooh, there's a big one. I'm probably gonna throw the jerk bait at this fish. Yeah, this is a good fish. I think I can get a good cast with the jerk bait. I'm gonna show you all this fish right here. Should be able to see him on the screen. He kind of sunk down to the bottom a little bit. Oh, he did not. Man, that is so weird. Like, just did not care about the jerk bait at all. I don't understand the mood that these fish are in. Definitely not a crazy biting mood. I mean, I got it right on top of this fish right here. And he just is not, I mean, didn't even give it a look, really. Just crazy the way they're not interested whatsoever right now. Okay, well, they're not on a solid jerkbait bite either. I can tell you all that. See if we can rile one up with the crankbait as we work along this point. That was a good fish on the corner of this point. I was hoping to maybe see one up here. And I did, but man, definitely was not very interested. And I actually saw that fish, you know, like with plenty of time, so I was able to to put a good cast on that fish. I done got up there in the pads. I'm up on this point a little bit further than I need to be. Let's get off a little bit more. Yeah, we're out here back in that 9-foot range where we need to be. Trying to use the law of averages here, throwing the crankbait, kind of thinking if I throw it enough and I bring it by one. Oh, here's another great big one. Get off of there. Every time I pick something up, it's getting hung. This is a big one. And that fish went down to the bottom. I mean, just slumped down to the bottom. Tight. Just completely disappeared. Quick. That was a nice fish. He was up in the zone and he went right down very, very quickly. Seeing a bunch of crappie on the screen now. Last time I came out here bass fishing, I mean, me and my buddy Scott, we were, oh, there's a nice bass. And here I am once again going over top of him. He just took off the other way. I think he either saw the boat or sensed the boat, one of the other. But yeah, I mean, we came out here and we zeroed. Here's another big bass. They're up off the bottom good. I will give them that. Well, I'm a little bit short. He sees it. He's following it. Oh, he bit it. He bit it. He's way over here to my left now. This wind is once again, when it starts to push your boat around, it makes it tough to pick them up and kind of stay on them. Not sure if he's going to get on it again. No, he kind of saw it a little bit. Didn't really get hot on it by any means. But yeah, I mean, that fish was willing to bite the minnow. I mean, this finesse approach, as much as it sucks, might be the way to get him to bite. I mean, that fish followed it up and snapped at it. And like I said, the other fish, I really feel like if I could get the bait on them, like if I was actually looking at them, and if I could get the bait on them a little bit quicker, instead of like just drifting over top of them kind of quick like I am, you know, now when I'm casting, I look down and I'm like, oh man, there's a nice fish, and I'm working the shoreline pretty quickly. I'm getting right up on top of those fish, and I think it's making them a little bit skittish. And that's why they're not really biting good. I'm pretty sure that definitely has something to do with it. Maybe not everything, but I think it definitely has a little something to do with it. But like I said, this isn't the way I want to catch them. But I mean, here's another. No, that's a big group of crappie. But oh, there's probably another big bass right there. Yeah, that's a big bass. So we're gonna throw this one, see what goes down, and then we'll kind of keep on working along. And oh, he sees it. I mean, he sees it for sure. Like, he come up. Let's get a better cast on him, because I pulled it away from him just a little bit. I think I'm short. I'm short. Dang it. Okay. It's perfect cast, just a little bit short. There we are. We still didn't get it right on him. I mean, sometimes they'll move for you if you're not directly on them, but today, if you're not right on them, you're not getting them to react. Like, they are not moving for you very far at all. Like that fish right there, nope. He said, nope, ain't happening. Let's break the jig out. Throw the jig a little bit and drag that around. See if we can get one of these bass to bite a little bit. I don't know if we can. I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is a little bit grindy right now. Like, definitely I knew it was going to be a tough old bite, but wow. Definitely wanted to try to bring y'all. I was hoping for like 2 or 3 fish. Definitely knew it was going to be tough. If y'all have been out on the water fishing, y'all probably know we've had a pretty tough winter here in Virginia. Definitely colder than average. But that doesn't mean the fish won't bite. That just means that little minnow will coax them. That little minnow will coax them. We're gonna work right along this shoreline up to the riprap, and then we might pick that crankbait back up. Go up here on the front side of this point. Oh, now there's a big old bass right there. Let's see if we can put one on him. I'm going to take a quick, this part of this video might be, the sound might be cut out of it just because my wife is calling me. So y'all give me a second. Yo.
We got turkeys in our yard. 4 of them.
All right, y'all, we're back. My wife was actually calling me to tell me that we had some turkeys in the yard, not wild turkeys, but somebody's like raised turkeys. And a pretty interesting fact is we woke up this morning for the second time in the last month with feathers all in the yard. The last time it was actually a chicken, and the chicken was dead in our front yard. This time I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I know the fox or coyote or whatever had it, completely destroyed it, and basically left a wing over in our side yard. So we have some foxes or coyotes working around the house a little bit, stealing somebody's chickens or turkeys. But the fact that we have turkeys in our front yard right now, like basically homegrown turkeys, makes me think that that could have potentially been a turkey that was left, or parts of turkey left in our yard from a fox or coyote last night, because it's literally feathers strewed everywhere, I will say. But we're gonna work along right here. We're still throwing this black and blue, the Bitsy Flip jig, dragging this. We're gonna get up here to this riprap and we're gonna throw around that crankbait. I'm almost wondering if I need to keep the jig in my hand. Not 100% sure. They're really not, I mean, reacting to anything, really. But keep throwing this around and see if we can get a bite. I want to throw the crankbait on this riprap. It's what I want to do. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. Also, wouldn't mind throwing the jig up there. Obviously, the jig is great for catching wintertime bass. But I've thrown it at quite a few, and well, I've thrown it at some. I don't want to say quite a few. I've seen some I've thrown it to, and they just didn't really react very much. I've done thrown up there in some hydrilla. Not seeing much of anything up here on this riprap. Like nothing really out off the bank. Just really not much of anything at all. I know there's definitely some fish here. But I'm not seeing any on the old scope. Maybe there'll be some up here at the actual spillway right here, or along this left side. I don't know. Oh, there's a bite. Oh no, I just missed him. I just missed one. Daggone it. I just knocked the mess out of my finger on my GoPro. That did not feel good. Man, that was a bite. That was a bite. on the jig. Dang. Just a very, very, very light tap. I actually think that fish had spit it before I even set the hook, but he bit it. Well, there's a little bit of hope. Little teeny bit of hope for the jig. Come on. Wondering if I need to go back down this side right here. Just go back down the riprap. Man, I'm gonna tell you, like, the wind has just like stopped. It's completely flat. It's like glass out here, which is just worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. But I know there's fish here. There's always going to be fish around the spillway, and we got bit, so hopefully there's one up here at this corner. I don't know if that was a bite, or it is like a little piece of wood down here. A little piece of brush on this corner. So that definitely might have been what we were feeling right there. Come on, big girl. Drag over the corner of that riprap right there. Something else too, I'm not seeing the crappie out here that I normally see. Normally you see big schools of crappie out here. I'm not seeing that at all. I'm hoping that cast right there will give us one. Dragging over that riprap right there. I did not want to get hung. Doggone it. That right there might be gone forever. That is not what we want. Let's see if we can get this out. Nope. Daggone it. Tell you what, those jigs, they dig into that riprap. We'll retie that in a minute maybe, but when those jigs dig into that riprap, a lot of times they're goners. They are goners. Let's go back down this with the crankbait. We're going to go right down the side here. Straight down in front of this riprap, right down the edge. I gotta stay right on the front edge of that hydrilla. This hydrilla comes off the front of this riprap a little bit. Got to kind of stay right in front of that. Man, I hated to lose my jig. We're right here towards the end, but I tell you, I got bit on it. It's really making me think that I should tie on another one. I know we don't have a lot of time. I think I'm gonna make one more cast with this, and I'm gonna turn around and pick that jig back up, or tie another one on real quick. Might tie on a green pumpkin. Just super surprised that the fish aren't biting a little bit better than what they are. They just are not biting at all. I mean, that crankbait right there, as good as that thing looks, it just hasn't even gotten a sniff. So let's get in the box real quick. I'm actually going to tie on, just going to tie on a green pumpkin. Got bit on that black and blue, but I'm going to put on a green pumpkin and put a little teeny bit of chartreuse on the feet. This is like a green pumpkin blue. Just tying it on with a regular old clinch knot. Nothing special. With 20-pound test, I like to do a regular clinch knot. Keeps me from breaking the line at the knot so bad. The line is wet, so I don't even worry with moistening it. You don't want to pull it down and burn the line. You don't want to do that, but just put a tiny bit of chartreuse on the feet. Just turn around and throw it back up there. I'm gonna throw back up there, but I don't want to throw right back to where I got hung. That's for dang sure. Don't want to lose another crankbait. Oh, I said another crankbait, not another crankbait, another jig. Dragging all through that riprap. I can just feel it bouncing all through there. Man, it has been a tough couple hours of fishing. To be expected. To be expected. I had really high hopes though, thinking that I would be able to catch. Oh no. And I threw that all the way under the dam. Oh my goodness, I can't believe. That 20-pound test P-line fluorocarbon is as strong as it gets, and I can tell you, ain't no way in the world I'm getting that. I'm slam up under. Oh my goodness. If y'all want some strong fluoro, strongest I've ever used, you got to get you some of that. I mean, that stuff is strong. Wow, okay. Well, you know what? We'll pick up the spinnerbait and we'll throw this a little bit and see. No, I've only caught one. Been a little tough. Yeah, thank you. So we're going to throw the spinnerbait and we're going to reel this nice and slow. I only think we got about 15 minutes left, if that. But we're going to throw this and reel it slow on this flat right here. Throwing this on a 5:6:1 gear ratio reel. This is the tournament MP, the Lew's tournament MP. And then this is a 6'10". This is the Lew's Mach 1 spinnerbait rod. I'm pretty sure it says spinnerbait, maybe it doesn't. But it's a 6'10". And I love this rod for a spinnerbait. Loads up good, casts good. You know, not like a big old heavy spinnerbait, but definitely a 3/8 ounce, somewhere in there, spinnerbait. It's a good one. There's a whole bunch of crappie right here in front of me. Just glued to the bottom. They're just glued to the bottom. Super weird for them not to be up with it being cloudy the way it is and all. Dang, basically lost 2 jigs on darn near back-to-back cast in that riprap. That wasn't what I wanted to do, that's for sure. I'm telling y'all, the fact, I mean, there's a lot of pike in here. And the fact that I have not gotten bit by a pike is pretty crazy. That is pretty doggone crazy. I could go out here in the middle and see if I could find one more fish to throw out with the minnow, or a couple more fish. It's not really the way I want to end it. If I see one, I'll throw at them, but definitely not the way I want to end the video, just looking around hoping to find one out off the bank. But like I said, if I see one, I will definitely throw at it, but we're not gonna just go searching. I think that is a couple of bass right here in front of me. I think it was just a, yeah, those are crappie. Those were crappie. What a tough day. Wow, what a tough couple of hours, I should say. Not tough day. I definitely feel like if we just grinded that crankbait just non-stop, I feel like we probably could get one to fire. But the fact that we threw it as much as we did and didn't get a single bite, and we threw at fish with the jerkbait and threw the jig at some, you know, we did get that one jig bite, and that was it. But definitely says a lot about how tough the bite is right now. I want to work back over on the end of this point right here. Jump over here real quick. This is where I believe where I saw that great big giant bass on the other side of this point right here. There's a whole bunch of crappie on the end of it. That's for sure. These fish just were not in a chasing mood. Not at all. I was actually going to go to the river, and I told my wife, I said, no, I said, I'm going to go out, you know, to the little small lake I got permission to fish. I said, I think I might be able to do a little bit better there, but whew, I'm going to tell you. Definitely tough. We still got time though. Let's see if we can get one more. We have still got time. Pretty nice bass up in the water column right here. See if we can get this fish to bite a minnow. It's a pretty nice one. This is actually a real big fish. He's just sitting there. He didn't move with the minnow. Let's see if we can put a jerk bait on his head and maybe he'll move with that, maybe. Oh, he went right down to the bottom when that jerk bait come over. Just, these fish are in such a negative mood. I mean, just a really negative mood, and when they're like that, they are really hard to catch. You know, the minnow isn't putting off quite as much, I guess, of a noise and a little bit of a threat, if you will. Hopefully my drawstring on my hoodie wasn't all in the camera too bad, but you know, just any bait that's had a little bit of a threat or a little bit of noise or a little bit bigger profile, they have just hauled tail away from it. The minnow is the only, here's another big fish right here. The minnow is the only thing that just has not made them, oh my goodness, this is a giant. Oh my goodness. He followed it. I mean, an absolute monster is what that is right there. Wow. Come on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We got him. Oh, it's a pickerel. It's a pickerel. And it's a big one. It's a big one. That's a big one. This is a big one. Oh my goodness. I thought this was a great big bass. I was like, yep. Yep, we got us a big one. Nope. Big pickerel. Big old pickerel. Oh, come on, bud. Get off of here. Yeah, that's a big one there. Let's get our pliers so we can get this out of his face. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess we could just net him so I could show him to y'all because he is so dang big. That's a 4 pound, probably a 4 pound pickerel. Oh my goodness, yeah, he's heavy. That is a heavy fish right there. Get the hook out. Wow, that is a fat one. I almost want to weigh him. Get your teeth out of my net, bud. Oh my goodness, like, what do y'all think he is eating? Oh my goodness. Probably just got my line with his teeth. Look at that pickerel right there. I mean, just an absolute great biggin. I don't know what is in his belly, but he has, I don't know what he has in his belly. Is that a, I don't know, like it's something in there. Big old shad, big old fish. I'm trying to see if I can see the tail. I don't know. That's a great big one though. All right, well, we ain't out of time yet, but we're daggone close. I was trying to see what that pike had in his throat, because it was something black, but I couldn't get it out. We got to see if we can see one more fish. I mean, that was like a 5 pound pickerel almost. That thing was big. That time has got to be getting ready to go off sometime soon. We might have maybe a couple more minutes. Let's see how much time we actually have. 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Almost got my finger cut by that dude's teeth. I was curious as to what he had in his throat though, because that was something big. His stomach was just completely filled up. Come on. Man, we have fished pretty dang hard. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was wondering when we were gonna catch a pickerel though. I was figuring we were gonna get one at some point. But I was just hoping that wasn't one that I was seeing on the screen, because I was like, man, that is a big fish. Well, there's a really nice fish right there. Up shallow. Let's see if we can get that fish to bite the old minnow. Not exactly sure if our cast is good or bad. Definitely not terrible. There's one coming after it. Not sure if that's a, I don't think that's a bass though. I don't think that was a bass. I'm pretty sure that was a crappie that came after it. But man, what a bummer that the two fish we've caught have been on on the minnow. It's definitely a bummer. See if we can get one on this point right here. Come on. Man, I was really hoping that we were going to be able to have a pretty decent little session out here, just with the little bit of a warm up. You know, the water temps warmed up and nice warm day. But a lot of times it takes a little bit of time for these fish to actually acclimate and get kind of back used to this warmer, a little bit warmer water, and start back in a little bit of a feeding mood and all of that. Because today, as much as I wanted them to be in a really good feeding mood, they have not been. Absolutely have not been. Cut this off and then on. I forgot to restart that, but I believe that phone is about to ding right here in a second. We're going to throw the minnow at this one last fish right here. See if this fish wants to bite. We do got one right here that's pretty close to the boat. I think I just messed that cast up, I believe. Yep, I think I did. Man, what a bummer. Come on. Hard to believe that there isn't, or wasn't, one that wanted to bite, or more than one that wanted to bite. But hard to believe there wasn't one that wanted to bite a moving bait, not bite that crankbait, or not bite the jerk bait. Just really were not in a feeding mood. Oh, and there it is, y'all. There it is. The end of our 2 hours. And yikes. I mean, really tough. But I'll tell you what, we did actually complete the task and get a bass within our 2 hours. But man, that did not go like I was hoping it would go. That was super tough. I mean, that was doggone tough. That was really tough. But that's fishing. That's fishing, you know. And came out here, fished hard for 2 hours straight, and just one big pickerel and one pretty nice bass. But overall, that is it. It was tough out here. Such a grind. But like I said, I guess if it was catch a fish within 2 hours or else, or catch a bass, I should say, we completed that task. So Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed filming it. I was just hoping to catch a few more fish, but hey, I'm gonna go get this boat on the trailer and just call it a day. And I really appreciate everybody that watched this video, especially if you watched it all the way through. That's very much appreciated. So let's go ahead and finish it up, and I will see y'all next time on Gunfish TV.